Hi everyone, welcome to this beautiful wild sunflower watercolor tutorial. Let's get started. For this tutorial we have to need to mix different colors. The first one is cadmium yellow. The second one is burnt brown color. So I'm just mixing the colors beforehand. The third color that you see is red ochre. If you do not have red ochre, you can use orange color. Then the fourth one is tree green. I'm mixing the puddles for all these colors because we will need them ready when we start painting. So let's start with the painting. The first thing for the sunflower is the center. It's big and round. So I'm creating two sunflowers. So I'm placing these two dotted centers with red ochre color. Again, if you do not have red ochre, use any orange in your palette that you have. Orange mixed with a little bit of brown. And I'm just creating dotting and leaving some negative spaces, like you see white spaces in the middle. It gives a very lighter effect and very shadowed look as well. So that's that, and we will start with the petals now. We want this brown to be little bit bleeding with the yellow, so I'm starting straight away with the petals even when this red ochre is wet. And I'm just using normal curvy strokes for the petals, nothing complicated because it's a wild flower, so we do not need to paint any specific shape for the petals. They can be running here and there in any direction. So be free and try to use your brush strokes with this. Some can be bigger, some can just be very thinner from the sides. Painting loose watercolor flowers does not require precision, so be free and enjoy your painting. And moving to the next flower, I'm using the same strokes, but wherever I need a thicker petal, I'm just pressing my brush against the paper a lot, so it gives me a thicker petal in that sense. And somewhere I'm using a mix of strokes, so somewhere I'm giving a lighter stroke and somewhere I'm just giving a thicker stroke. And as you can see, I'm just bringing some tails coming out from the petals. It gives very full look for the petals. And now I'm using this Indian yellow color close to the orange, if you do not have Indian yellow. And I'm just dropping it somewhere randomly on the petals to give a very shaded effect on the petals. So we are doing wet on wet. The yellow color is still wet and we are adding this Indian yellow on top. You can use different concentrations of this Indian yellow. Somewhere it can be very dark and concentrated, and somewhere it can be very light and watery. It gives very different variation in the color, overall color of this flower. So the first layer of these flowers is done, and now we are going to keep on adding different colors to give more definition. So now we are using brown mixed with a little bit of black to give a very darkish brown effect. And the center is still wet, so I'm just putting and letting this color bleed into the red ochre that we just did in the first place. And you can see it's getting blurred, and the second one is dried a little bit, so I'm just using my damp brush to smudge it and spread it a little. And I'm now going to use a green color and add rough leaves and stem to this. Also, it will be the first layer of the green color. We are going to keep adding layers to give more definition and more depth to these. So there is no specific way to place the petals. I'm just finding some spaces which can make this more expressive. So trying to place the leaves in different directions, and as you can see where these two flowers are meeting, I'm trying to drop in some green to give an effect that there is some green at the background. and I'm just adding the stems, just imagining the stems where it would be placed. And be free, do not follow a particular pattern, be free with your creation. Your illustration will be yours, and it can be composed in any way. So I'm just using very wildy strokes for these leaves. They are not having any specific shape, and I'm using a brown to just give a shadowed effect, just adding randomly like we did with the orange on the yellow petals for the flower. Just add them randomly, it will look more natural. Keep on adding the leaves until you're satisfied. Now I'm going to add this very dark brown towards the outer side of the center that we've created. As you can see, I'm just using some dotted small strokes to represent some tiny little, you know, um, to give it very tiny dotted texture to the center. And same way I'm doing with the other one, just use smaller strokes and some dotted pattern strokes. It will give very natural look to the whole the center, and it will look little 3D. And I'm also dropping some in the center circle. While this brown is still wet, I'm going to drop in some red ochre color to give even more beautiful mixed color look. You can use, again, if you want, you can use orange mixed with little bit of brown if you do not have red ochre. While this brown is still wet, I'm going to use very lightly damp brush and bring this brown towards the leaves, towards the petals of the flower. It gives a very browny, rusty look to the whole flower, and it looks very wild and vintage kind of flower. If you want, you can absolutely skip this part, but I really like the look and feel of this flower. So I'm taking very light pigmentation towards the leaves. I do not want it overpowering brown on the leaves, so that we just have a little reflection of the brown on the petals. Same way I'm going to do with the other flower. So this is the stage where I'm going to keep on going back to the colors and adding more layers on the previous layers to give more depth to the whole composition. I'm using here a dark brown with mixed with a little bit of green to give more shadows to the greeny parts. Here I'm just lifting some green color which came on the top of the yellow petal, and I'm going to add yellow on top of it again. And similarly, I'm going to touch all the petals with a little bit of yellow again to give a very bright yellow effect on all the petals. And we are almost done with our composition. I love the way they are turned out. It looks so wild and bright sunflowers. If you like this video, then please support my channel by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. That gives me a lot more motivation. And I will see you guys in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.